Okay, so by request, I'm going to go over the Signal scandal, aka Signalgate, which drives me bonkers because Gate is not a reference to a scandal. Watergate was not called that because of the scandal. Gate is not a synonym for scandal. The hotel was called Watergate. So yeah, this drives me a little nuts that every scandal has gate after it. But so I'm going to go over a summary of the scandal, and I had to go to SBS News in Australia to get a good summary because everyone was just within the moment, which is fine. But if you want a nice summary, I guess you have to go to foreign media because they're not as inundated as we are in the clusterfuck. All right, so let me. I have to make this bigger. I forgot to do that. All right, and then I will give my thoughts. So, this article is headlined A Group Chat, a Journalist, and a Military Strike. Trump Admin Signal Scandal Explained. Alright, a journalist was accidentally added to a secret group chat where senior Trump officials discussed classified plans to strike Yemen. Hours later, the strikes came. Alright. So, a journalist was mistakenly added to an encrypted group chat with top officials from U.S. President Donald Trump's administration where confidential military plans to strike Houthi targets in Yemen were being discussed. So, let's just back up. I don't know how much they're going to explain, but first off, Signal is a messaging app, which until the scandal, never heard of it. So it's a messaging app, and somehow Jeffrey Goldberg got added to this group chat called Houthis PC Small Group. So basically, it's supposed to be something that's done in the Situation Room where a bunch of top officials discuss what they're going to do about, in this case, the Houthis. So Signal is an encrypted app, but it's not a secure app. As to show that this journalist got added by accident. So, first off, they're probably using their own phones. So, not secure at all. First they're using Signal, which isn't secure. Then they're probably using their own phones, their personal phones, which, again, not secure. Government officials get government phones for secure usage. And then nobody noticed that this journalist was lurking about in the background. And then classified information was shared. Because, yeah, that's totally what you do. Oh, and one of the members was in Russia because, Russia hasn't been known for spying and hacking or anything. And we don't know where Tulsi Gabbard was. Just that she was out of the country. Anyway, back to the article. Trump launched an ongoing campaign of large-scale military strikes against Yemen Houthis earlier this month over the group's attack against Red Sea shipping, and he warned Iran, the Houthis' main backer, that it needed to immediately halt support for the group. And from my understanding is that, yes, Iran supplies money and weapons to the Houthis, but outside of that, they're hands off. Sort of like we are with Israel. Israel can decimate Gaza all they want. We're not going to do shit, even though we provide them with money and weapons. So it's like that. These attacks began just 2 hours after the journalist received the information. Fun fact, he thought he was being punked. He thought it was a joke. He didn't take it seriously until the attacks happened. The move has been criticized by Democrats, with some calling it blatantly illegal and demanding a formal investigation. Yeah. And it's not just Democrats who are doing it. There are plenty of Republicans. I shouldn't say plenty, but there are Republicans, because not all of them have drunk the Kool-Aid so badly that they aren't going to criticize anything ever. Alright, so what happened? Jeffrey Goldberg, editor-in-chief of The Atlantic, said he was accidentally added to a Signal messaging app titled Houthi PC Small Group on March 13th. Now, I'm not going to even get into how the heck do you accidentally add someone. Mike Waltz, who did the adding, tried to explain himself on Laura Ingram's show on Fox News, and even she was having a hard time swallowing it, because he was saying how, you can put a different name and a different number together by accident. Seriously, who the fuck does that? You might accidentally add someone because you're, typing, and predictive text might, add the wrong person. But that's on you to catch. The idea of typing in someone's contact, someone's name, and it bringing up the wrong number, that's a you thing. Because he even said maybe Jeffrey Goldberg found a way to hack his phone. No, dude. You're an idiot. The group, Goldberg claims, included high-level officials from the Trump administration who were discussing an imminent military strike. The Signal group appeared to include 18 senior figures, including U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, Central Intelligence Agency Director John Ratcliffe, National Intelligence Director Tulsi Gabbard, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, White House Chief of Staff Susie Wiles, and an unnamed active intelligence officer, which, because Goldberg actually gives a shit about national security, so he's not going to name people who, could get harmed if this got out, and other senior National Security Council officials. In a piece from The Atlantic titled "The Trump Administration Accidentally Texted Me Its War Plans," Goldberg wrote about his experience in the chat and included screenshots. According to Goldberg, the messages shared top-secret operational plans to strike Houthi targets, including information about targets, weapons the U.S. would be deploying, and attack sequencing. He said National Security Advisor Michael Waltz tasked his deputy, Alex Wong, with forming a Tiger team to coordinate the operation. Goldberg said he questioned the chat's legitimacy until what he read turned into reality, with airstrikes launched just 2 hours after he received details of the attack. National Security Council spokesperson Brian Hughes said the chat group appeared to be authentic. Under U.S. law, it can be a crime to mishandle, misuse, or abuse classified information. Messages that the Atlantic report said were sent by Waltz to disappear from the Signal app after a period of time also raised questions about potential violations of federal record-keeping laws. Another reason why you need to use government-issued phones. Not only are they, or they should be, hack-proof, But in order with keeping with the Records Act, we need to keep these and send them to the National Archives. So first, we're using an encrypted app that any old schmo can use, which obviously you're not going to accidentally add someone you shouldn't be adding if you're using the proper channels. Then we have the problem of, well, because you did that, you accidentally looped in a civilian. And then you go about actually posting classified information. It's just, we're run by morons. Absolute morons. When people like Susie Wiles or Marco Rubio were confirmed, I was like, well, at least there's going to be some adults in the room. I was hesitant about Marco because he seems to, be doing Trump's bidding, but I thought, well, maybe, he'll provide some pushback. No. Because you'd think one of them, especially Marco, who is in government and has been in government for a while, would know not to use a Signal app. To use high-end government sites, especially if a couple of those people are not even in the country. One was literally in Russia, meeting with Putin. Yeah, that's not suspect at all. I mean, I would like to think that Mike Waltz added Jeffrey Goldberg on purpose. So there would be someone to report on whatever shady shit they're doing, because, again, what the hell are you doing talking about this stuff on Signal? But it's most likely he just did an oopsie and not that this was intentional. All right. So what did the messages say? The chat included more than just military coordination. Some messages were said to reflect an internal debate about whether to carry the strike out at all. What appeared to be a message from Vance expressing concern about the rationale and timing. 3% of U.S. trade runs through the Suez. 40% of European trade does. There is a real risk that the public doesn't understand this or why it's necessary. The strongest reason to do this is, as POTUS said, to send a message. In another message, the Vance account questioned Trump's broader strategy. I am not sure the president is aware how inconsistent this is with his message on Europe right now. There's a strong argument for delaying this a month, doing the messaging work on why this matters, seeing where the economy is. So just think about that. They think they're doing Europe a favor. And it's like, oh, well, we don't want to do that yet. So, yeah. It's the fact that Vance might actually be the smart one is just mind-boggling. Which also says that maybe he's not a true believer. Maybe he really hasn't drunk the Kool-Aid. He just wants power. Which isn't any better in my eyes. I would rather have a true believer than someone who's just a political opportunist. Because it's easier to deal with, because yes, they're true believers, but at least you know what you're getting. With political opportunists, you never know. But the fact that he might actually be even remotely the most sensible person is very jarring. The discussion also showed debates about whether allies in Europe deserved U.S. help. Because there's this anti Europe sentiment. At Pete Hegseth, if you think we should do it, let's go. A person identified as Vance wrote. I just hate bailing Europe out again, the person wrote, adding, let's just make sure our messaging is tight here. I mean, they've got to shit on Europe whenever they can. What the hell? How are you bailing out Europe with this? The Houthis are attacking Israeli ships. Last I checked, that's not Europe. A person identified as Hegseth replied, VP, I fully share your loathing of European freeloading. It's pathetic. European freeloading? Uh-huh. Just wait till Trump's tariffs kick in and everyone decides they don't need to deal with us anymore. Yeah, we'll see who the freeloader is then. Unfortunately, I live in the US, so it'll suck for me. Goldberg did not publish the most sensitive details, but described the exchange as a shockingly reckless use of a messaging app to share national security plans. And because Trump and everybody was like, oh, we didn't share anything classified. It's all right. So what did Goldberg do? He then decided, well, if none of this is classified, here you go. And published the whole damn thing. I mean, I'm sure he might have redacted some names, basically because he's the adult in the room and doesn't actually want to see anyone hurt. But I'm unsure of that. I'm completely unsure of that. Okay. The incident has raised serious concerns about how the Trump administration handles classified information and if it's complying with security protocols. The fact that he had a bunch of classified information in Mar-a-Lago and didn't want to give it back somehow wasn't enough to answer that. I mean, serious questions about how the Trump administration handles classified information. We already know that they were going to do that badly. I mean, maybe not quite this badly, but we knew that, it wasn't going to remain secret because, Trump's going to keep it in obvious places where any old schmuck can get to him. All right. There are also concerns it could be a violation of the U.S. Espionage Act. Democratic leaders have condemned the incident, calling for an investigation. Former Democratic presidential candidate Hillary Clinton expressed her shock in a post on X. You have got to be kidding me, she wrote, along with an eyes emoji and a screenshot of the headline and the first paragraph of the Atlantic article. So for those who aren't aware, that's going to be the next paragraph, so I'll just read it. Clinton's use of a private server for classified emails during her time as Secretary of State under then-President Barack Obama was a key issue in the 2016 campaign. So now Trump's administration is doing the very thing that he was screaming at the top of his lungs about Hillary for. And she was still probably using her server more responsibly. Don't know for sure, but I'm guessing. This is one of the most stunning breaches of military intelligence that I have ever read about in a very, very long time, Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer said, adding he would ask Majority Leader John Thune to investigate. Like he's going to do that. The Republicans are afraid of Trump. I don't know if Trump has dirt on each and every one of them or how he's keeping them in line, but I don't think that this is going to... Now, if somebody had gotten killed from the U.S., maybe that might light a fire under these dipshits. But Democratic Senator Elizabeth Warren said on X the use of Signal to discuss highly sensitive national security issues was blatantly illegal and dangerous beyond belief. Democratic Senator Chris Coons said on X, every single one of the government officials on this text chain have now committed a crime, even if accidentally, that would normally involve a jail sentence. Actually, I just read, shortly after this came out, I read about a DHS staffer who accidentally let a journalist into a chat about deportations, and that official was fired. And yet, all of these people still have jobs, and it doesn't sound like anybody's leaving anytime soon. Trump told reporters on Wednesday, AEDT, all right, I guess that's Australian Eastern Daylight Time? Wow. Okay. That he was unaware of the incident. I don't know anything about it. I'm not a big fan of the Atlantic, he said. Right, because that's the takeaway in this question is, what do you think of the Atlantic? All right. A White House official later confirmed Trump had since been briefed and an internal investigation was underway. Now, maybe Trump didn't know about these boneheads using Signal, because my understanding is he's very mob boss like in leaving a paper trail. He doesn't take notes. He doesn't want other people to take notes because he doesn't want to leave a paper trail so people can follow the crime. So it's entirely possible he had no idea about this. Or it's possible that he's lying. It could go either way with him. Despite the backlash, Hughes defended the chat, calling it a demonstration of the deep and thoughtful policy coordination between senior officials. No. No, it's not. They fucking used emojis. No. That is not what you do in a serious discussion. Anyway. The ongoing success of the Houthi operation demonstrates that there were no threats to our service members or our national security, he said, adding that nobody was texting war plans. And because of that insistence, Goldberg did just that. There was something else I want. Oh, yeah, and Israel is furious because it could have put their people in danger because they're the ones who gave the intelligence about the Houthis to the U.S. that led to this airstrike. So, okay, so even if no U.S. service member got injured, what if an Israeli one did? I mean, these people, like I said, are boneheads. Goldberg responded to that statement in an interview with CNN. No, that's a lie. He was texting war plans. So this article obviously came out before he did a second article where he texted the war plans. He gave all the screenshots. He brought all the receipts. Because, when someone calls you a liar, prove them wrong. The only good thing about this is that, now the National Archives have a record. They have something to store away now. Let's see. All right, so that is all I have for that article. So, yeah, we are being led by morons. Now, unfortunately, like I said, we don't know where Tulsi Gabbard was through all this. We just know she was out of the country. Um, Trump might be willing to stick with these people because the more we talk about things like this, the more he can go about destroying the government and we will be distracted. So maybe he's okay with us. Speaking of Project 2025, let's see what other things he's done to demolish the government. So the latest thing that happened, and this happened a couple of days ago. A couple days ago. From personnel, he weakened federal employee unions. And the note said Trump signed an executive order stripping collective bargaining rights from federal workers in 18 departments. Because, why would we want unions? They actually think people should be paid a living wage. Couldn't possibly want that. So that's the only new completed task. So there's still 44 in progress. So let's see if I can... Yeah, it's not going to let me... Okay, it's not going to let me just look at the in progress stuff. So anyway, that is all I have for this article, I believe. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to say about the Signal clusterfuck. Oh yes, just that this is the one conversation because Jeffrey Goldberg was accidentally added to the chat that we know of. But how many other classified briefings have they been having on Signal? How many chats, government chats that should be recorded was done on Signal? Because these messages were set to sunset in like 4 weeks. I mean, obviously Jeffrey Goldberg published it, so that helps. But just the fact that this was happening should give anyone pause because, okay, great. Nobody on the U.S. side got hurt. Nobody got killed. Great. We still had one person in Russia who, from what I've heard from the Pod Save America guys and Pod Save the World, is that the way things are done is if you go to a country, all your personal devices are, kept on the plane. You are not allowed to go into a country with your personal devices because they can get hacked. So I don't know if they leave their personal devices at home and the only thing they have with them is the government devices. That I was unclear of. But it's because it's so easy to hack. I mean, even in France, where ostensibly you would think that the French government wouldn't want to hack your phone, they still do not bring their phones into France because they could get hacked. So to have Steve Whitlock go to Russia and actually meet with Putin while this chat is going on, yeah, you're just basically begging Putin to read these chats. Anyway, I believe that is all I have for this video. And with that, I will see you guys in the next video.